Hello everyone. So with 7 more months left for your civil service preliminary examination, I hope every serious aspirants would have started your preparations right now itself. In fact, this is also the right time or high time in fact you start your preparations because you don't have much time left because you have to study a lot of subjects, that is polity, history, geography, economy, environment, etc. are the most important part. Apart from this, you have science and technology, international relations, etc. So you would have started your preparations right now in fact. So this particular video, so many would be asking why is it that you are coming up with a strategy video. So for beginners, this particular video is trying to ensure or is trying to guide you through the various preparation level, that is from prelims point of view. It will help you understand which all area you need to focus or what you need to do in order to identify those areas where you need to focus and those areas where you need not focus. Or there are certain areas wherein you need to have an in-depth knowledge and there are certain areas where you need to have a journalistic idea or journalistic knowledge. So this particular video will help you to identify those areas, and apart from this, for those students or those aspirants who have given their prelims attempt even once also, this particular video will ensure or will help you to identify the mistakes that you may have created or you may have committed during your previous civil service preparations. And when you identify your mistakes, it's very easy for you to rectify those mistakes. So this particular video in fact is targeting you both categories. So we are trying to ensure that you have an idea about what all are the main areas or what all you need to do, you need not do, what all are the reference books you need to understand or you need to focus, etc. from Indian polity point of view, and that too from prelims point of view, prelims 2019. Now before we start, that is, you all might be knowing that UPSC, that is, in order to be selected, we need to match the demands of UPSC, because UPSC as an employer would be looking into the demands that, or would be looking into those candidates who are actually matching their demands. So in order to understand the demands of UPSC and that too from Indian polity point of view, there are two important ways that you can do it in fact. The most appropriate one would be actually through going through the syllabus. That is, the syllabus would be giving you a peek into what exactly is the area or the areas where UPSC is trying to focus. Accordingly, Indian polity, that is from prelims point of view, Indian polity and governance, that is constitution, political system, panchayati raj, public policy, rights issue, etc. This is actually the syllabus that UPSC has given, that is UPSC has given from prelims point of view for Indian polity. Now the Indian polity means the type of political system that we are following, the type of administrative system we are following, etc. And governance in fact refers to the various developments, that is various the laws which the government is passing, the judiciary has ruled, etc., etc. So these are what to be brief actually, this is what Indian polity and governance comes. So here itself, constitution, there are certain areas which UPSC has mentioned precisely or has given more importance. Those are constitution. First and foremost is about the constitution. So here in constitution you need to know various provisions. It's not like you need to know what exactly that particular article is all about. No, more than that, you need to know the range of articles. That is, you need to know what exactly part 1 is, part 2 is, part 3 is fundamental rights, part 4, etc. So you need to understand what exactly these parts are and what is actually the range of these articles. That is, if we are taking a particular article, where exactly this particular article would be there, or where exactly or which provision would this particular article be dealing about. So this, as you all know, our constitution is a codified constitution. So the advantage is that if you know this particular part, etc., you will be able, or if you know the range of this particular article, and also the part, you will be able to identify which area or which part is actually this particular article dealing about, or which provision of the constitution is being dealt by this particular article. So that is the advantage. So regarding constitution, you need to know everything that is regarding what exactly part 1 is, part 2 is, what are the schedules, the schedule 1, 2, 3, what exactly first schedule, second schedule, etc. What exactly these are. And also you need to know the emergency provisions, the amendment procedures, the fundamental rights. So you need to know all these, that is what exactly fundamental rights are. There are fundamental DPSP, Directive Principles of State Policies are there, fundamental duties are there. You should actually be precise. You should be able to distinguish between DPSP vis-a-vis that of fundamental duties. And apart from this, the judiciary, the various provisions that has been given under judiciary, executive, even more importantly, parliament. That is, under parliament, what all provisions are there, what is actually money bill, what are the difference between money bill and finance bill, etc. So these are the areas where you need to focus from constitution part. That is, the provisions that has been mentioned in the constitution. That is what you have to focus from constitution part. Next, political system. It is like the political system. What political system we are following? We are following a parliamentary form of democracy. So what exactly parliamentary form of democracy is? So here you need to understand the concept. It is not like parliamentary form of democracy is wherein the executive is part of legislature. No. You have to go more importantly into that particular. You have to deal in depth about it, because we'll deal about it. That is the previous year questions, etc. In fact, ask you to have a more in-depth knowledge about this particular term, that is parliamentary form of democracy. So we are having a parliamentary form of democracy, and we need to know about the characteristics of this particular parliamentary form of democracy. So you need to have an in-depth knowledge about parliamentary form of democracy. More importantly, you also need to understand the general areas, that is generalistic. You need to have an idea about, a general idea about presidential form of democracy, that is the other part of democracy. There are certain types of democracy. So presidential form of democracy. Now more importantly, you also need to understand the federal system, what we are following, the type of federal system that are there or that are present in other areas, and what are the provisions we have adopted from other constitutions, and etc. etc. So the political system in fact deals about the political system that we have right now, we have adopted, and also its counterparts, a generalistic idea about the counterparts across the world. So that is what you need to have regarding political system. Most importantly, Panchayati Raj institutions. Of course, you all know that 73rd and 74th Constitutional Amendment Act were landmark, landmark constitutional amendments that was brought in. So Panchayati Raj institutions explicitly has been mentioned in the constitution, which means that they are very, very important. So it's not like you need to understand what exactly Panchayati Raj institutions are. No, more importantly, you also need to know what are the various committees that were set up in order to understand, or in order to study about Panchayati Raj institutions, their functions, etc. And also you need to know how many subjects are there in 11th schedule, 12th schedule, and what all were the provisions that were explicitly mentioned in 74th Constitutional Amendment Act or 73rd Constitutional Amendment Act. So you need to have a crystal clear idea about what all are there. So this is what you need to focus from Panchayati Raj institutions. Then the public policies, the various policies that government comes up, the various judicial pronouncements that come up recently. There was Section 377, then the right to privacy, then several other euthanasia, etc. So there are passive euthanasia as well as adultery, etc. So there were several judgments that were brought in, and there were several other amendment that were brought in. Along with that amendment, there were several other public laws that were passed by the parliament. So these are the areas where you need to focus from public policy point of view, and then of course rights issue, etc. So these are the major areas, major area that is from Indian polity point of view you need to focus. Now this actually in fact gives you an idea, that is these are actually generalistic. Constitution means, okay, these are constitution, there are several provisions are there. So within this constitution itself, where I need to focus? Within this particular political system, where I need to focus? Or in-depth knowledge is required about what? And where journalistic idea or journalistic depth or knowledge is required with respect to what? So many questions may arise. Okay, so this syllabus may seem to be vague for you. So in order to understand, or in order to solve this particular vagueness that is prevalent in this particular syllabus, the most important solution, the most important aspect that you need to focus is regarding the previous year questions. So regarding previous year questions, there are a number of advantages when you focus, when you try to understand the previous year questions. So the first and foremost, the advantage that you can have if you try to understand, or if you try to follow this particular, if you try to solve these previous year question, is that you will be able to know about the number of questions that may come from a particular problem, or a particular, a particular subject in fact. That is, from Indian polity point of view, we can say that if we are generalizing the previous year question that has been asked, we can say that, okay, nearly around 15 to 18 questions on an average has been asked from Indian polity point of view. Apart from this, within this Indian polity, so along with that you will be able to generalize about how many questions would be there from economy, how many questions were there from history, environment, etc., etc., geography, etc., etc. So these are very important areas. So on a whole, how many questions are there, or how many questions would be allotted to this particular subject? On an average, you will be able to deduce, or you will be able to have this intuition. Apart from this, you will also be able to understand the topic-wise importance that are given to each and every area, or the area's importance that UPSC has given. So this particular, the importance of that particular area would be actually reflected in the previous year questions. So there are certain areas wherein questions have been repeatedly asked, which means that that particular area is very, very important. And there are certain areas wherein the questions have not been asked or has been asked rarely, in fact 1 or 2 questions in the previous, that is from 2011 onwards, has been asked. In such a case, you can say that that particular area is not that much important, but again it's important because UPSC, after all, many of you call UPSC to be unpredictable public service commission, because you cannot predict from where exactly it would be asked. But again, you will be having a generalistic idea, and this particular generalistic idea would help you to guide you or to understand or to make your preparations more effective. So that is topic wise importance. So topic wise importance is very important. Now, more importantly, you will also be able to know the type of preparation, that is whether you need to have an in-depth knowledge or whether you need to have a generalistic idea, etc. So as far as Department Standing Committee is required. So in Department Standing Committee, you can say that, okay, fine, in Department Standing Committee, you need to know how many members are there from Lok Sabha, how many members are there from Rajya Sabha, who all would be, or from where actually the chairperson would be selected, and who is actually servicing this particular, whether it is Rajya Sabha Secretariat or Lok Sabha Secretariat that is servicing this particular Department Standing Committee, etc., etc. Apart from this, you also need to understand the financial bid categories like category A, category B, and also its differentiation vis-a-vis that of money bill, etc. So these in-depth knowledge, the areas which you need to focus, and the areas where you need to have just a generalistic idea, those areas or those specific areas can be understood, or you can actually reduce those areas by understanding the previous year question. So this is also another important area. And also you'll be able to understand from where, the source from where UPSC is asking. There are certain areas like current affairs, etc. You will be able to follow from which area this, or which textbook, or it's not like textbook, from which type of questions, or it is actually like UPSC focus more on that is Press Information Bureau, that is PIB, or whether other areas are also focused, etc. So you will be able to reduce the areas or the sources from where UPSC would be asking also. So that is a major advantage if you are trying to solve, or if you are actually trying to get up, or if you are trying to solve your previous year questions. There are several n number of advantages are there. I have just listed out some of them. So having this in your mind, understand that previous year questions is very important. So never ever try to skip this previous year questions. So apart from this, now we'll have a breakup. That is, we at NEO actually we have actually deducted the areas from where UPSC consistently have asked questions. So here we can say that there are certain areas that is from consistently UPSC has been asking questions from these areas, which means that that particular area is very, very important. So we have actually generalized it and we have categorized it into several topics also. So for your convenience, we can say that from 2011 onwards, the first particular topic is Parliament and State Legislature. From 2011 onwards, you can see that there has been consistently questions coming from Parliament and State Legislature. In 2011, wherein there were 2 questions. In 2012, it rose to 6 questions, then 4, 3, 4, 1, 6, 4, even in 2018 also there were 4 questions were asked. So on an average, you can say that Parliament and State Legislature itself, you can expect up to 4 to 5 questions to be optimistic. So 4 to 5 questions you can expect. So that is actually one of the advantage, that is Parliament and State Legislature. Next one, Union and State Executive. Like Union and State Executive from 2011, there were no questions, but later on 2, 2, 4, 1, 1, 3, etc. So which means that Union and State Executive is also very important. It includes your, that is President, Prime Minister, Council of Ministers, Advocate General, Attorney General, Chief Minister, Governor, etc. Next is Judiciary. Judiciary also you can expect at least 2 questions, or to be more optimistic. Nearly at least 1 question you can also expect from Judiciary. Even right now Judiciary is in news. So there is a chance that for 2019 they will be asking, they may ask questions from Judiciary also. The fundamental rights, 2 questions, 1, 3, 4. So again you can say that nearly 2 questions to be optimistic. On an average you can expect from fundamental rights. DPSP also you can say 2 questions may be asked. Fundamental duties are also important, that is 1 question would be asked, but it is not that much important when you compare with that of Parliament and State Legislature. Again, fundamental duties are also important, because there may be questions that may ask you to pick up the fundamental duties. So the rest would be DPSPs, and this particular one, or the right answer would be a fundamental duty. So you may get confused also. So again, local government, that is Panchayati Raj Institution, you can see that 2, 2, 2, 1, 2, 1. So there is a question that there is a hope, or to be optimistic, you can say that nearly 2 questions can be asked or may be asked from Panchayati Raj institutions also. Scheduled areas and tribal areas is not that much important, but again you may get a question. So have this idea, that is till date there has been only one quiz in 2015. So have this idea about what exactly scheduled and tribal areas are, 5th and 6th schedules are all about. Then center-state relations, one question has been asked, each from 2017 and 16. And finance, property, contracts and suits, there are only 2 questions have been asked, so that is not that much important. Amendments, that is how amendments are brought in, the procedures regarding it, has been asked in 2013. Constitutional body, again one question, maybe you can expect up to at least one question also. Extra constitutional body 311, so which means that one question maybe on an average you can expect also. Statutory body, then silent features, then miscellaneous. Miscellaneous refers to those which are there in current affairs at that particular year. For example, National Carrier Service. It was there in 2017, it was in news, so that was the reason why it was asked. Again in 2018, there were other questions also regarding Aadhaar. Aadhaar was also in news then at that particular point of time, and that's the reason why Aadhaar was asked. So these are certain areas where, so these can be categorized miscellaneous also. So on and whole, you can say that in 2011, there were 10 questions, 21 questions, 17 questions, 12 questions, 14, 6, 23, 14. Latest in 2018, there were 14 questions. And in fact, 2017 was a bumper lottery for Indian polity. That is, 23 questions were asked. So, to be optimistic, or if you have done your preparations in the best manner, you can say that let 2017 reoccur. So, on and all, we can say that on an average, we can say that nearly 15 to 18 questions you can expect from Indian polity point of view, which means that you can expect up to 30 to 35 marks you can expect. That is 36 marks you can expect easily. And this 36 marks also is very important. It can help you in qualifying your prelims also. So since 2017 was a bumper lottery for Indian polity point, I have actually deducted also. I have actually classified it topic wise. So here, federalism there was one question, preamble 3 questions were asked, fundamental rights, DPSP, fundamental duties. So here, DPSP and fundamental duties there were 2 questions. Parliament 6 questions were asked, and judiciary 1 question were there. Then elections, then emergency provision, local self-government, national carrier service, etc. So total national carrier service you can actually classify to be a miscellaneous one also. So on a whole you can expect up to 23 questions. There were 23 questions in 2017. So that is what I am saying. On a whole you can say that Indian polity you can easily score. You can easily score 15 to 18 marks. 18 questions can be expected, which can turn out into 30 to 36 marks also. So that's very important. Now from Parliament point of view, these are the previous year questions that has been asked. So I'll focus on this, that is I'll try to give you a peek into what exactly are the demands of UPSC, and accordingly you can make suitable changes also. So here, this was a 2018 question. This was a very, very simple question. So I'm not here to solve this particular question in this particular session, because we'll be having another session regarding it. But here, what I'm trying to do is to make you understand that there are certain questions which may appear to be difficult for you, but in fact it's very, very simple. So we'll discuss about it. So here, the 2018 question, consider the following statement: in the first Lok Sabha, the third largest party in opposition was the Swatantra Party. In the Lok Sabha, a leader of opposition was recognized for the first time in 1969. In Lok Sabha, if a party does not have a minimum of 75 members, its leader cannot be recognized as a leader of opposition. And which of the statement, again it is asking for correct statement. So there are certain questions which would be asking for not correct statement. So be careful when you are trying to solve, because you may be knowing the answer, but you will be marking just opposite, because the question was asking for not correct statements. So have this idea, be attentive, and also be alert also when you are trying to solve these questions also. So here this was a very simple question, to be frank, because here even if you don't know the first statement as well as the second statement, still by just ruling out the third statement, I am not going to solve it fully, because this is not the session intended for that. But again, if you know that the third question is not there, then you can easily arrive to the question, easily arrive to the answer. So this is one particular area. So 3 statement questions, etc. There's a very high chance that you can actually, through elimination technique, you can actually come up to the, you can actually result, or you can conclude to the final answer. Next is, this is also a 2018 question regarding money bill. Again here, it is asking for not correct. That is, which of the following statement is not correct. And again, there were 4 statements were given, and identifying the not correct statement was actually the demand of the question. So here, you need to have a conceptual knowledge, or knowledge about what exactly is money bill all about. So this has been given in our constitution and also has been dealt in various textbooks also, including neo nodes also. So you have to have a thorough knowledge about what exactly finance bill is, what exactly money bill is, how you classify between, or how you actually differentiate between the two, etc. So apart from this, next one is which of the following statement regarding no confidence motion in India. There is no mention of no confidence motion. It was asked in 2014, by the way, and a motion of no confidence can be introduced in Lok Sabha only. So it is asked with the correct statement. So again, you can say it is actually a simple question, but the problem is that you might not have actually realized, or you might not have given your focus on this particular provision. In fact, that is, there is no mention of no confidence motion in Constitution of India. This may actually perplex you. So that is there. So you need to understand what exactly, is there a provision for no confidence motion in our Constitution? Has it been mentioned in our Constitution, or is it actually a part of our convention? So these are certain areas where you need to focus. So when you're preparing, you can, this particular previous question help you to understand. So here, you may have prepared about no confidence motion, but this particular question makes you understand that no, you will have to measure, you will have to check whether it is there provided explicitly in our Constitution, and also whether it can be passed or it can be passed in Lok Sabha only. So these are certain areas which can help, or previous question can help you in understanding those areas, in identifying those areas. This is a conceptual or an analysis type of question. Here, everybody would be knowing what exactly democracy is, right? Democracy, of course, we all say for the people, etc. So, but again, it is asking, democracy's superior virtue lies in the fact that it calls into activity what exactly it is. It is a very simple question. If you know what exactly democracy is, you will be able to deduce what exactly would be the answer here. So here, concept is actually required. It is actually an application level question. That is, you have to apply the knowledge you have gathered. So here, application is required. That is, you have to understand the concept, and after that, you have to apply it. And when you are applying this particular concept, only then you will be able to arrive to the answer. So this is an application level question where you have to apply your knowledge, and then come back to the answer, the right answer, in fact. So this is a 2018 question regarding fundamental rights. Which of the following reflects the most appropriate relation between law and liberty? So here it is asking law and liberty. That is, if there is more laws, there are less liberty. We have discussed about it, and we will be coming up with sessions discussing this again. So here, this is a very simple. This is not a simple question. I will not call it as very simple question. But again, if you are having a knowledge, that is, if you are having a thorough knowledge about what the difference between law, and liberty, you will be able to deduce, or you will be able to come up with 50-50. You can actually eliminate two options, thereby coming to 50-50. And then, if there is no other chance, you can actually go for, that is, you can say that, okay, one particular option for me, it is 75% correct. The other one is 25% correct. Let me go with the 75%. So yes, in prelims, you will have to take certain risk is required, is involved. But again, if you are using, in order to use this, or in order to take such risk, you need to have certain knowledge. That is concept level knowledge, and its application also. So this is one such beautiful question which actually has measured your knowledge. Next one, fundamental rights, again another one, that is, rights are claims of state against citizens. Rights are privileges which are incorporated in the Constitution of India. Then rights are claims of the citizens against the state. Rights are privileges of few citizens against the many. So these, in fact, if you know what exactly fundamental rights are, or if you know what exactly, so understand that these questions are not explicitly asking what is fundamental right, or what is the difference between, or match the following: fundamental right, this one article, this article A, that is option A, that is article 14, right to equality. Option B, article 15, then something else, etc. It is not asking to match the following, or it is not saying that which of the following has not been correctly matched. In Indian polity, etc., such questions is not right now asked. In fact, it is asking for a conceptual level question, an application level question is also asked. So, in order to understand this particular question, you need to have a thorough knowledge on what exactly this particular concept refers to. So, here it is about fundamental rights, it's about the rights, etc., and how rights are protected, or how rights are being, you can actually use these rights against the state, etc. So, this is what has been measured in this particular question. It was a 2017 question. Next, simple question, it was actually a current affairs also, so you would have gone through it, and you would have made it right. That is, it is with respect to case Puttaswamy case, the recent ruling of Supreme Court. That is regarding right to life and personal liberty, that is right to privacy. So again, so that is actually a reflection of current affairs upon your, your conceptual level question or your static level question. Now, next, this one is regarding Union Executive, that is with reference to the election of President of India. Consider the following statement. The value of a vote, each MLA varies from state to state. The value of a vote of MPs of Lok Sabha is more than the value of vote of MPs of Rajya Sabha. So this was there in news, it's current affairs, because presidential election was done recently, was conducted recently. And this one is very important because it's not like you need to know, okay, the president is elected through single transferable, proportional representation by means of single transferable vote. No. More than that, you need to know the value of each MP's vote, the value of each MLA's vote, what is actually the formula, and whether it is increased or whether it is high or low, whose is actually more, etc., etc. So that is actually being tested here in this second statement. It was asked in 2018. So this is also very important. So here what you can say here is that here it is particularly asking about a particular topic, that is presidential election was there in current affairs and this was there in your syllabus also. So here you would have gone through it, but you would not have actually focused on this part, that is whether the value of vote of MPs is higher than MLAs or whether who is actually having more value of vote, etc. So that is some important area which you need to focus. Next one, state executive. Again, this is a very simple question that was asked in 2018. No criminal proceeding shall be instituted against governor of a state, then emoluments and allowance of a governor of state shall not be diminished. So it was a very straightforward question. I hope you can make it right also. So understand that in Indian polity also never think that there are no simple questions have been asked. Of course, there are simple questions that are also asked. Straightforward questions have been asked. This is an example for that. Next, discretionary powers of governor. So you might be knowing about the various powers that governors as well as president do enjoy. Have this idea, have the distinction. What all are the discretionary power of governor? What all are the discretionary power of president, etc. The pardoning power of president, the pardoning power of the governor, etc. So this is also a very simple question. And again, if you are having 1, 2, 3, 4 type question, it's very simple. That is, you can actually reduce or you can eliminate 1 or 2 statement, and thereby you can actually reach the answer also. So this is also a type of question, that is asking about the discretionary powers of governor. Then this is regarding Panchayati Raj institutions like local self-government. This can be best explained as an exercise in a very straightforward question. You might be knowing the answer also. It is democratic decentralization. So it was asked in 2017. Imagine it was asked. So it was a very simple question. It was asked also. Next is there's a Constitution 73rd Amendment Act. And it is asked about what all were the provisions that were given in 73rd Constitutional Amendment Act. That is 1, 2, 3, etc. So here you can say regarding whether it is there, which provisions were there in 73rd Constitutional Amendment Act, which provisions were not there in 73rd Constitution or which were present in 74th Constitutional Amendment Act. So you need to have an idea. That is what I'm trying to focus here. That is, you need to have a clear-cut distinction. So here you can say that State Election Commission, etc., for State Finance Commission were there in 73rd Constitutional Amendment Act. But you cannot say that district planning committees were there. So there are certain areas where you need to focus. So this is the area where you need to understand also. Now regarding judiciary, a very straightforward question. Who or which of the following is the custodian of Constitution of India? 2015 question. It was also a very straightforward question also. Next, what is actually the provision that has been given to safeguard the autonomy of Supreme Court of India? So this is also a 4-statement question, or in fact a very important question also, because so you need to understand how actually the safeguard of various constitutional bodies have been given. What are the provisions that has been given explicitly in Constitution and which has not been mentioned in the Constitution but has been given through a legal measure or law. So that is also so that is something where you need to focus, whether a retirement age has been provided or term limit has been fixed or not, etc. You can say whether they are eligible for re-election or whether they are eligible for reappointment, etc. You need to focus. So this is one such a question which in fact helps you to identify those areas. Then this is a current affairs question, that is Aadhaar card can be used as a proof of citizenship or domicile. Then whether Aadhaar number can be deactivated or omitted, etc. So this is also a current affairs question. In fact, it was also a very simple question also. So we will be discussing about it in the upcoming sessions also. Again, this is a factual one. So right now the trend is towards focusing on factuals also. Like you need to understand when Goa became a part of independent India. It is not like when Goa became a full statehood or was granted a full statehood status. Also when that is Imperial Bank of India was renamed as State Bank of India, etc. So these are certain factual questions and you need to have this particular idea, that is when this particular date is there or when this particular question when this particular event has occurred. These are very important milestone events in the history. So that is the reason why these have been asked. So such years also needs to be by hearted. So this is also a new trend that has been followed or that has actually been introduced by UPSC recently. It was a 2018 question also. So all in all, we have discussed that nearly 15 to 18 questions were asked in Indian polity. In the that is, you can expect in fact 15 to 18 questions, which translate up to 35 to 36 marks also. So that is it. Average number of questions 15 to 18 questions, and the marks you can say that nearly 35 marks. It's very important because in civil service prelims, it doesn't matter how much mark you make. You just have to clear off this particular cutoff. So in order to help it, Indian polity will definitely help you. And regarding current affairs relation, everybody would be thinking that current affairs relation is not there because Indian polity is static. In fact, that's a wrong notion. Current affairs is there. In fact, current affairs has been discussed also. So it is not like they will be asking directly current affairs. Of course, they will be asking current affairs also. But more importantly, they will also be asking the concept that is behind this particular current affairs. So here, you can say that there were several questions that was asked in the previous year. So we will discuss, that is in the upcoming sessions, etc. We will be discussing about what exactly were such questions, that is, which were actually a reflection of the current affairs then. So accordingly, you can say that, okay, such type of current affairs, they may be asking as a part of your conceptual level question or an application level question. So that is, an example would be the presidential election, that is a presidential election. Here that was actually a current affairs question, but again the concept behind it was asked. Again the other one, Aadhaar, was in news, and that's the reason why Aadhaar question was asked directly. So directly or indirectly, you will be having a question regarding current affairs also. So never ever neglect current affairs from Indian polity point of view. And conceptual knowledge is very, very important. It's not like you have to by heart. Before by hearting, you need to know why exactly this happened. That is actually the concept behind it. And you need to apply it also. That is, you need to apply and thereby deduce to the answer. So in prelims, the beauty of prelims is that answer is given before you. You just have to pick up the right answer. That's it. So that is actually the beauty of prelims. So in order to help it or in order to do it in a more efficient manner, you need to have an application level. That is, you need to understand the concept and accordingly you need to apply also. Now, there are many questions were asked, that is to me, that is by the students, regarding what textbook we have to follow. Again, there are several textbooks where there, that is like regarding Lakshmikant is there, then D.D. Basu is there. Of course, I know 90 to 95% of you would be following Lakshmikant. Of course, Lakshmikant is more than enough. But apart from Lakshmikant, see, understand that there would be certain areas, grey areas, where Lakshmikant would not be touching also. But there are these are potential areas also. So Lakshmikant has to be supplemented with some other textbook also, or even standard notes would also do the thing. So here, Lakshmikant as well as D.D. Basu is more than enough. Along with that, if you have this PM Bakshi textbook, that is PM Bakshi Constitution textbook, it would help you in your preparations for mains also. So regarding mains, etc., we will be coming up with a new strategy video. So standard textbook, Lakshmikant is obviously is there. D.D. Basu is also another one, but D.D. Basu is more of a legal language which you will not be understanding. But again, Lakshmikant is fine. You have to augment it. Of course, you have to augment it with standard notes also. And understand that these notes should be from you can follow any notes. It is not necessarily from Neo notes. Of course, Neo IAS notes, in fact, comprehensively covers these areas. We are actually preparing the notes from mains point of view also. So, which means that your preparation would be a balanced, a comprehensive one also. So, but I am not insisting on following this Neo IAS notes itself, because you can go forward and look into other notes also. But make sure that those notes are in fact standard ones, and you don't spend your precious time wasting time for collecting those resources in fact. So understand that the toppers notes, etc., would do good. It's actually good also, but main problem is that a note which you have prepared is actually prepared keeping in point of view your preparation level, and this will not help the other person, the next person. So when next person looks into it, he will not be able to follow it rightly or fully in fact. So always the toppers notes has to be supplemented with your notes. So your notes, or you can say that your notes should be primary and it has to be supplemented with toppers notes. Only then your preparation will be comprehensive. So standard textbook, standard notes is more important, and along with that, I would like to focus very, very, very important is that you have to follow or you have to take test series. Test series is a must. It's a compulsory option because it's compulsory in fact. Why? Because it actually brings into clarity regarding the concept. So what happens that it's not like you'll be getting several test papers are available in the over the net. It's for free also. You can download also. But what you have to make it to or make difference is that when you are attending a coaching institute's test series or an all India mock test series, what happens here is that you will be able to know relatively where you stand. And it is actually relative, that is relative to others' mark, that your cutoff would be decided. So whether you are above this cutoff or below this cutoff, it would be decided if you are actually attending a standard a test series in fact. So solving questions in fact helps you, but attending test series etc. helps you to understand or identify where you stand and what all preparation you have to do in order to augment or in order to improve your position. So that again is there. Along with that, it also brings clarity to your knowledge, that is to your concept. That is the clarity with respect to there are certain areas wherein you need to focus more. So this would be tested in this test series and you will identify it, you will make it wrong so that you can actually identify it and make it rectify on that particular D-day. So it helps, and understand that we are not computers. We are not computers to feed one thing and after 15 days or after 6 months you can actually retrieve it as it is. We are human beings, we are ordinary human beings, and for that, in order to improve our preparation level, we need to augment by doing periodic revision. Revision is must. You never should compromise on revision. Revision is very, very important. That is, at least a day, you have to keep it for revision in a week. So 1 week, 1 day is must, has to be kept for revision for every subject. That is, every subject has to be revised on that particular day. So you can keep it on Saturday so that for Sunday many times you'll be having the test series, so you can actually attend the test series with a joy in fact. That is, you have completed those areas. So very important, that is textbooks, standard textbooks only, standard notes only. Next, test series is very important. Attend maximum test series and also revisions also. So test series, regarding test series, New IAS is also coming up with test series in fact. So go through so these test series are also very important. It's actually ranked on all India base also. So the beauty is that you will be able to identify where you stand relative to other competitors, as well as you will be able to identify which all area you need to focus or you need to rectify or you need to improve yourself. So these are the most important part, and in future, that is, we'll be coming up with strategy video for mains, as well as we'll be coming up with videos so that we'll be taking up a question one day. That is, 2 or 3 questions would be discussed in a week, and with that you'll be able to understand it. We'll be trying to augment or supplement your preparations also. So we'll be coming up with those video sessions also soon. So I hope this strategy video helps in identifying you where you need to focus, what you need to do, etc. And it would help you to succeed in your civil service examination prelims 2019. So that's it. Thank you.